Welcome to this tutorial on the AGS core. In this tutorial I'm going to show how to use and extend the AGS core, and more specifically I'm going to implement ladder climbing with a Unity character controller. So to save some time I've prepared the scene with a simple ladder. You can see here I created the game object pillar with ladder. The models are simple prototype models from the Unity standard assets. The important things here is the ladder is completely detached. This is just a pillar. So the ladder, it should have a ladder view to make the AGS system identify it as a ladder, and it also needs a box collider that has trigger checked. And the important thing here is to make sure that the collider doesn't go over some other model. So it should be empty air where completely till where the ladder starts here. And also we have two other things that we need. You see this top collider here, which is the ladder top. It should have the ladder top obstacle script attached, and it should also be a trigger. And this one should be placed above the ladder collider and also a bit into where you want to be able to climb onto the ladder from the top. And the last game object that we need is the ladder exit. It shouldn't have anything else than the ladder exit obstacles script. This is where the character should end when he climbs off the ladder at the top. These are just models, the yellow steps here, so they don't have any scripts attached. Okay, so let's start. The player, the Ethan model that we have in the example scene, he doesn't have any interaction skills implemented at all at the moment. So you can see here interaction skills view is empty, so we start with creating a child to this to the player, and we call it interaction skills, and we add the interaction skills script, interaction skills, and you see here that we have a lot of interaction skills that we can add. We are only going to use ladder climbing in this tutorial, and we also need interaction volumes. These are used for triggering to make the character identify where he can interact with something. So we create these two childs also. Ladder climbing and interaction volumes, and this should only be an empty game object. This is just a container, so we need to create a child of this also, and here we create an interaction volume. So you can see here this is a transform, so we add the interaction volumes to the container property. And now we are ready to implement these two scripts, and this is going to be a bit code heavy. I think we start with the interaction volume because it's a bit easier, or at least a bit smaller. So we need to add a new script for this. So we're going to switch to Visual Studio, and let's see, it's hung up for some reason. Sorry, I'll just check what's wrong with Visual Studio and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to create an interaction volume. In game view examples, we're going to create a new folder to get some hierarchy also into this. So we create an interaction folder here, and here we add a new script, add class, and we call this example, or let's call it CharacterController interaction volume. No, I'm going to call it example interaction volume. Okay, and public class, and this is going to inherit from interaction volume base view. And what we need to override here is the onLadder stay that exists in the interaction volume base view. We can go and check it up here. Interaction functions, ladders. We have these three. We need to implement onLadder stay and onLadder exit. So we go back to this one and we override onLadder stay, and also override onLadder exit. And let's start with onLadder exit because it's really short. So what we need to do is to clear the interaction volume from the current ladder that we are interacting with. So we use owner interaction skills, clear interaction volume, and this one exists in the base view also. This is the current interaction volume, so that's all we need to do. And we go back to onLadder stay, and we need to check some things here, so to avoid null references. So if owner interaction skills equal to null, we just return, we do nothing. And if owner, or rather current interaction volume is not null, which means we are interacting with something else, we also do nothing. If we pass these two checks, then we should check for player input, and more specifically, if owner CharacterController, if it is currently interacting, then we should do current interaction volume equals to the interaction volume that we are using, and also current interactable target equal to ladder view ladder. We get this, you see this as an input parameter, the ladder that we are connecting with at the moment. So we set this is because you can have multiple interaction volumes. This is exactly this one. Let's say you have a interaction volume at the hands, and this one is at the hand, then you are currently grabbing, or if it's at the foot, then the interaction volume is I mean, you can have multiple interaction volumes, and you need to set the character's current interaction volume to the specific one that is currently connecting. And also, last but not least, you need to do owner interaction skills, ladder climbing, transition to state approach, which means that the ladder climbing script should go to state approach. I see maybe we should also do another check here to see that we can do ladder climbing. If the character does have a ladder climbing implemented, then we can do this. Okay, so that's it for the example interaction volume. So let's go back to Unity. And it is compiling. Why is my computer slow when I'm recording? Okay. Oh wow, that's weird. Okay, never mind. Interaction volume, and we can add our new script here, example interaction volume, and here you see you can set target height, and if you have multiple interaction volumes in the interaction volumes container. So I'm going to set this one to mid because we only need one, and we also need the box collider, so we have something to trigger with box collider, and let's see, it should be somewhere around there and not quite so big perhaps. 0.75, maybe a little less, 0.75 there also, and this one maybe 0.05, and we move it back a bit also. Okay, so we can interact with interaction volumes, or rather interaction objects ahead of us. Okay, I think that's it for the interaction volume. Another thing we need to do here is we need to set the layer to ignore raycast for everything here. Otherwise, the raycasts that we are shooting out from the character to identify where we can walk and stuff like that. Otherwise, it's going to connect with our new interaction volume here, and we don't want that. Okay, so we are ready with the interaction volume, so let's move on to ladder climbing, and we go back to Visual Studio. Just going to save this first, and we go back to Visual Studio, and let's create a new script, example ladder climbing. And this one should inherit from ladder climbing base view. And you see here I get errors because there are a couple of abstract methods in the base view that we need to implement. So I'm going to auto implement this, so we see what we need to finish. Okay, we need to get the target position, we need to be able to move towards the interactable target, we need to be able to face the ladder, we need to climb the ladder, we need to get the exit position, and we need to do jump, but this we're not going to use it in this tutorial, not implemented. So let's just implement the rest from the top to bottom. Let's start by storing the ladder climbing collider bounds, or the ladder collider bounds. So ladder collider bounds equals to current interactable target transform get component collider bounds, and then we calculate the closest bounds, that the closest position to the ladder collider bounds. So our closest point equal to new vector 3 ladder collider bounds center x, ladder collider bounds mean y, ladder collider bounds center z, and then we take into account the offset parameter, or the offset property that we can use. So closest point plus equals to transform forward times offset horizontal, and then we return new vector 3 closest point x, and we are not going to use closest point y, because if we are climbing onto the ladder at the top we need to retain our current y position. So char transform position y, and then closest point z. So we are finished with get target position. So now we do move towards interactable target, and we are going to use a simple vector 3 move towards here. So we do char transform position equals to vector 3 move towards char transform position target position, and we use the smoothness that we get from here. So this means that we move from our current position to the target position with a smoothness parameter. And face ladder, this means that whenever we interact with the ladder we need to turn in the direction of the ladder, and to do that let's just do a simple check here first. If current interactable target equals to, if we don't have an interactable target, we can just transition to idle instead, because otherwise we don't have a position to rotate towards. And now we do owner character turn in direction, and here we need to use the direction of the ladder. So current interactable target, which is our ladder, transform forward value of that. Yeah, okay, so obviously we need to return also if we are transitioned to idle, so that we don't do turn in direction. I'm not sure if this is implemented yet. Let's go see. No, it's not implemented. So what we're going to do here, we need to do quaternion look rotation. Okay, so yeah, I think so. Character controller. Sorry. Combat entity base. Sorry, I'm a bit confused here. What's our property? Is it just? Oh, we have the transform straight ahead here. So, oh, sorry. That's why I'm confused. We need to go to the we're in the completely wrong script here. Sorry. The owner character in this case is our character controller player view, because this is our example player for Ethan. So let's go to turn in direction. Yeah, this is completely empty instead. Okay, sorry. Character transform rotation equals to quaternion. I hate this word, quaternion. Look rotation, okay. We look in the degrees, our ladder, and we need to specify vector 3 up here, so that we are turning around the y-axis. Okay, that's it for turning. So we go back to ladder climbing, and phase ladder is done. We save it and we move on to climb. Okay, so this one we can just move the character controller straight in this script, and then in the player view we are going to stop horizontal movement whenever we are interacting instead. So let's do chart transform get component character controller. Move, and we move new vector 3. We're not going to move at all in the x-axis. We're moving with our curve speed that we get as a parameter, times speed affected that we also get as an parameter, and we don't move in the z-axis. And that's it. And exit position. We can get this component from that's the game object that we set on the ladder. So return current interactable target transform get component ladder exit obstacle. The position the ladder exit script, or the game object that has the ladder exit obstacle on it. And we are done. Perfect. And so we go to Unity again, and we add our new script here. Example ladder climbing, and we should set some properties to make it work. The approach margin cannot be 0, because then it will never reach the ladder when we approach it. So it can be something very small instead. Let's set climb speed to 10, and that's it. So now we set ladder climbing here, and we are done with the scripts that make the character climb. But last we need to add input for interacting. So we have let's just duplicate the crouch button and call it interact instead. Interact, and let's do key code override, key code E, and we're almost done, but not entirely done, because this simple input controller does not know what interact is. So we need to override this also. Let's go to input controller, and you can see it only knows this basic input controller only knows jump and fire. So either, let's see, okay, we can override this one also, why not? So we add a new folder, input, and a new script, example input. Okay, let's do it. It's so simple, but okay, let's do it right. Input controller, and let's just duplicate this entire function. Override, and we add interact here. Interact, and interact button. This is just a name, and if we do that, then we do interact value. Okay. Why I was hesitating to do this is because we also need to do example input view. So let's add a new one. Example input view. And we can see it here, example, or rather input controller view, and we have a lot of stuff here. We need to inherit from this one. And what we need to do is, let's copy this. We need to create our new example input. Okay, so that's it. Now we go back to Unity, and we need to add our example input view here instead. And we wait while it's compiling. And it takes a weird long time. Okay, so it's still not done. Come on. Sorry for these delays. Okay, example input view, and you see we get the same ones, so we add this to control axis, and we add buttons to buttons, and we delete this one. And this should be it. Let's save the scene, and we try. Okay, so we have an error. Okay, maybe we need to set. Okay, it had the wrong example input. Because we changed it. Okay, we can walk around and hopefully we can climb the ladder when we hit E key. And nothing happens. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I went completely ahead of time. We had some properties to set, and we were not done with the implementation either. So first thing we need to do is obviously set interaction skills property, and we also forgot to set the box collider of the interaction volume to a trigger. And also in ladder climbing we forgot to set the ladder climbing state machine. Ladder climbing state machine. Otherwise nothing at all will happen. You can see the state machine here. This is what actually does stuff. And for example, the climbing, ladder climbing, state climbing, we also need to implement this, otherwise nothing will happen even if we are in this state. So we need to go back to our ladder climbing script, example ladder climbing, and these were the overrides that we had to do, but we also need to override some state functions to make this work. So override on state and state update climbing, and we also need on state enter climbing, override on state enter climbing. When we enter the state climbing, we should face the ladder. So face ladder, the function that we implemented here, and on state update climbing we need to do some checks to see if we should leave this state. So if the owner character owner character hit below, the value of the hit below obstacle equals to hit obstacle ground, which means that we are on the ladder and climbing, but our feet is on the ground. If we are on the ground and the owner character controller the direction value equals to down. If we are on the ladder with our feet on the ground and we also press down, then we should transition to release. Ladder climbing, transition to release. And then if owner character hit forward value equals to hit obstacle ladder top, which means that we are standing on, in this case, if we are standing on top of the pillar and our hit forward rays are detecting the ladder top. In this case, if we sorry, if we are at the ladder top and we, oh yeah, if we are in state climbing, I got a bit confused here. If we are climbing and we are detecting ladder top, and if owner character controller direction value equals to up, if we are detecting that we are climbing at the top and we still press up, then we should ladder climbing transition to state exit at the top. If we passed these checks, we can continue to climb. Okay. Yeah, that should be it, I think. Let's try again. No, we are still not done. Sorry. On our character controller player view, we need to disable horizontal movement if we are climbing. So we create a private bool interacting, and we can duplicate this one, and instead interaction skills. If we have ladder climbing skill and our current state changes, then we should see if current state if our current state is not idle, which means we are doing something with the ladder, then we are interacting. And in our update function, if we are interacting, then we shouldn't do anything else, because the ladder climbing script takes care of the actual climbing. So this character controller shouldn't be moving in this script. And now we are ready to try again. And hopefully it will work, but we'll see. I don't prepare these tutorials, so that's why I get a bit confused sometimes. So let's try. I think it may work at least. Okay, voila! We don't have a climbing animation, but that's not in the scope of this tutorial. So you see, we detected that we got to the ground and we pressed down, so then we released and we climbed again. And let's see if we can detect the top. Something happened there. Exiting top. Something happened when we exit top, so I need to check that and I'll be right back. Okay, so it was a minor error in the script, the ladder climbing script. You see here that we tried to get the component ladder exit obstacle of the current interactable target, but actually the ladder does not have the ladder exit obstacle. It's in the children, or in the child of the ladder game object, so we need to get component in children. And then we should find it. This got a null reference. That's what happened. And while doing this, I also realized that in order to climb onto the ladder from the top, we can't have the interaction volume like that. So it should be it should go a bit below the ground so that we can connect with the ladder even. Why is it hanging up? Or at least onto the ground, so that we can connect with the ladder at the top also. And to make it more realistic, we set the target height to low here. Okay, so now we should be able to climb on to the ladder and exit at the top. So we climb and we should exit now. Yep. And if we hit E here, okay, it's still not connecting, so we can actually we can do this hitbox can go a bit above here, so it can be let's say 8.5 or smaller, 8.25. Okay, so that our interaction volume can detect it. So we exit at the top and we grab onto it at the top also. And you can see, let's turn it around so you can see that the character will face the ladder if we grab onto it from any side. So stand like this and we turn. And if we have a ladder climbing animation here, it will look also look better, but it's working now. It's a bit jerky, and I think we can fix this really easily by doing animate physics in the ladder climbing state machine. and I think it will be a bit more smooth then. Other than that, this is it for simple ladder climbing by extending the AGS core. Yeah, it's a bit more smooth now. Yeah, I think I will do more tutorials on how to extend the core. If you have any suggestions, you can of course email me and tell me what you want me to do a tutorial about. Okay, so bye bye.